what is the bread and butter of the CU podcast? One of the bread and butters, besides me going toe to toe with customer service people, it is our coverage of new retro consoles, whether it's re-releases of stuff, minis, or these handy dandy FPGA consoles that we've done this now for like 10 years, covering this sort of stuff on the show.
Yes, I mean all of it, whether it's an FPGA console or the Coleco Chameleon, Kamiko,
or like the Retro Engine Sigma,
the Retro Engine Sigma,
NES Classic Edition,
Polymega,
good old Polymega, which we'll bring up during this probably. But so
really?
I was alerted, yes, I was alerted to the fact that two individuals had received an early preview console version of the Mod Retro M, as in Mary, M64, which is their FPGA Nintendo 64 console.
You'll remember Pat talking about seeing the
I saw it at PRGE.
the prototype at PRGE.
And this is the founder of Mod Retro is Palmer Luckey.
Which I've already said is a trash bag. I mean, you know where we stand on that.
Very checkered past. He knew the N64 book at PRGE when he came by. But I did try. I just played I played Mario Kart 64 at PRGE, and what was interesting was that they had it under glass. At the time, I said there was no graphical user interface on it. They wouldn't allow you to touch the knob to access it. You couldn't access it with a controller. And then someone did an interview. It froze in the background while they were trashing analog in the interview. The console froze in the background. We brought it up on a podcast or two. Like, that's not a great look when you're doing those sort of things, but what have you. So that was 3 months ago, almost 4. That was 4 months ago at this point. November, December, January, February. 4 months ago. So they're not sure yet when this is coming out. Supposedly it was supposed to come out originally by the end of the last year, and it slipped. Palmer said that it's officially in mass production. I'm not sure what that means. If that means it's like, hey, they turned the machine on and we got in parts, or what does that mean? I don't know. But these two individuals received this. One, the editor-in-chief of Retro Dodo. Retro Dodo is I believe, UK based website and YouTube channel that's been around for about 6-7 years. They review handhelds. They like reviewing like handhelds that you can load ROMs onto. They do some retrospectives. I've heard of them. I'm not totally familiar with a lot of their work.
Right.
They received a unit. They did a written write-up, preview, review, what have you. They didn't call it a review, but we'll talk about what that is. And also sent it to an influencer on Instagram whose name is Topher A. And they also have a YouTube channel, but they're bigger on Instagram. They seem to be like a retro influencer for games and other things. Yes, it's Topher.a. And they have like a basement studio, very slick, like a Miss Pac-Man in the background, and they talk about it. So these two individuals both got this console. So what was interesting about it was the fact that we don't know when this console is coming out yet.
No.
And in the past, we've been critical, going back to the Polymega and Nintendo life, of doing a review, early preview of a console that they had no clue when it was coming out.
Which many, that was kind of an issue with Polymega. And I remember similar to this, there were Polymega units sent out to some people,
yes,
and they were using them and streaming with them for, I want to say, almost a year before the final product,
at least, I think,
came out.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say 2 years, which seems too long, but
it might be.
Regardless, the preview units went out way before the final product was finished.
Correct. And the reason why we always think these things are troublesome is because, first of all, it's not a final retail product.
Right.
So what are you actually talking about when you're doing this? But at least with the Polymega, I believe it was pretty close to what people got. I don't remember us going back and saying this is not what was advertised. It was pretty final looking back.
There was a horrible lead up to it.
Sure.
I mean, but I do think that people who bought them were happy with what they got. It's a very specific, after all the changes to the Polymega, it's a very specific type of person that would want it, but that person seems happy enough with it.
Sure. But here's the issue with what's happening with these two individuals, with Brandon at Retro Dodo and with Topher received them. They got products that aren't even close to being finalized. And they even have a list of things we'll go through that software related, menus, items like filters, and more. We'll touch on all of them that aren't included with the console they have. They're still working these things out while this is in production. That's very troublesome, but we'll get into more of that in a second. So we'll talk about first, we'll talk about the, I guess, we'll talk about Retro Dodo's coverage of this first. Originally, the video was titled...
I do. I just want to state before we get into it real quick, I have no problems with a preview of a console or a preview of something. The problem, as we'll see, is when things start getting stated definitively. As
fact. And then editorializing things as fact. Right. We'll get into it. So the original title of the video came out, I believe it was on the 19th. It was last Thursday. It was 100 hours with the Mod Retro M64. This was the Retro Dodo video. They have since changed the name of the video. I've been in touch with Brandon from Retro Dodo through an email chain. This happened after that. I'm not sure if it's because of that, but I asked some questions that I thought was curious that I'll get into because I was very curious about this coverage. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, great. We're going to hear about all the features. We're going to hear about this thing. Like, what is this actually going to be? However, once you get into the video, you realize that, in my opinion, this comes off as a marketing piece.
Yes.
It does not come off...
what I felt.
It does not come off as a good faith review. It does not come off as... I don't know what a good faith preview can even look like, because that's not the job of an independent game journalist to say, hey, this is going to come out, but what I'm looking at now is not going to be the final product. Like, I don't understand... Like, what is the point of doing that?
This article is in the video, likewise. And by the way, you can watch the video or read the article. As far as I could tell, the content is the same between them. Is just how desperate this seems to sell it. As, I mean, really, it really feels like this. They're pushing it. They're selling this. This does not read like a normal preview.
Yeah.
This reads like a just you wait, this is going to be the be-all, end-all, which you can't, literally without the features it claims it's going to have, without those there's nothing here to make this particularly special.
There's not much to talk about.
No.
And I'm not going to accuse either of these individuals of being paid by Mod Retro. I do not think that is the case.
I don't think they were paid. I think, but like I said, and that's something... Despite not being paid, it comes off as doing marketing for them. It's
PR and marketing. It absolutely is. We can get into the semantics of what that means, if you're paid or not. But I believe this is a case of, obviously it's access media of a form, but it's also might be something else. Like, I did not reach out to Topher A, but I wanted to ask him, like, just straight up, like, why were you sent one? Did you have a relationship with Mod Retro? Like, I didn't, like, it seems strange to me that these two folks were chosen to quote unquote preview this. Then I thought to myself, well, maybe because like the other more, I don't want to say reputable, but someone like Modern Vintage Gamer might have said, oh, I don't want to look at this because this isn't finished.
Right.
Like, we would not want to look at it because it's not finished. Because now what you're doing is that you are now going to assume that what the company is telling you is true and will come to fruition, which we'll get into. So at the beginning, near the end, Brandon says in the video, the original 100 hours with the Mod Retro M64, there's a boatload of features that are coming in the future after launch. So the fact that it's called after launch made me pause. Does that mean they are already admitting that they are so far behind that they're going to try to launch the hardware and not have the software being close to final? Is that what that means? That's how I took that. To say after launch?
Well, I do too, because after that's weird to me, because one of the constant complaints about the Analog 64 was the many delays, which I understand. There was a ton of delays.
Yes.
No one wants that.
But once it launched.
But now that they're slipping into delays, okay, well, we spent a lot of hot air on talking about Analog's delays. Now we're experiencing delays. How do we save face? Do we get it out there unfinished, or do we keep delaying and then have to deal with this issue ourselves?
Yeah, to Analog's credit, though, once it actually launched and was in people's hands, it wasn't lacking the features. The only thing...
No, I know. And that's what I'm saying.
That's what I mean.
So the only... At this point, depending on with these delays, they can either launch an unfinished system, or they can admit that, yeah, this is a lot more tricky. This is trickier than we thought it is, and they're going to have to keep delaying.
So that was like kind of startling to me to hear that admitted. If they're being told to say that, which I think they were instructed to say some of these specific things, which we'll get into, both these individuals. They said, don't take it as a review. It's just a bonus. I don't understand what it's a bonus of if it's not a finalized product.
Right.
You know, it's like you're trying to. That's what I mean. That's marketing. It's like it's to get you excited to eventually order it when it goes for sale, either at GameStop or wherever online. You can stop in with your quotes whenever you have there too. These are just mine. At about 11 minutes in, on the article, it says this prototype runs my original cartridges very well, with no major visible hiccups and zero worry, as expected from a high-quality FPGA console. There's a lot in there that makes me think they're doing some heavy lifting there. They're making a lot of assumptions, because I would need to know, what cartridges did you put this through? Was it just a handful, like that's shown in the videos, like 4 or 5 that you actually see? Did you try some of the very weird third-party ones that would not be expected the normal person to try? Did you like get Xena Warrior Princess off the shelf, for example? Did you get some of these like Williams classic arcade games that use like, some of these rasterized graphics that like the emulators really struggle with? I'm not sure. The FPGAs might have issues with some of these weird ones, because you're not developing these things originally to run these weird games. You're starting with the bread and butter and working your way out. You know what I mean? So that was not something that gives me confidence, because there were hiccups, which they admit in the next sentence.
Right. I thought that was weird too. Everything ran great. Wait a second, we've had frame drops.
This is in quotes, a few frame drops a couple of times. Ellipsis, little sentence, which has to be expected on this early prototype and will likely be ironed out at launch.
It doesn't have to be expected, and likely is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I don't know much about FPGA development, but I do know when you're manufacturing hardware, and the hardware on this is locked. Has to be if they're going into production. The hardware is locked. What if frame drop issues are more hardware related? What if it's like the memory being used, Ian, is not the perfect type to match with the FPGA core?
Sure.
What if it's something weird with something with the heat is burning up too much, so it's getting sluggish? Is it a frame buffer thing? You know what I mean? Like, there's some hardware things that you can't just say it's going to be fixed. You can't say
there's a lot of hand waving.
Yes. This is where when I heard that, that's when I started to get scared and wondering what is going on here. Because this is not like, again, what is this? What is this? What's the purpose of this video? Is it to make sure to people, hey, this is going to come out still. Don't go buy the analog 3D, which sold out of its the original one. It sold out, I think, of the first color version. Now they're selling more. Like, hey, we're still here. Because remember, they originally thought they were going to beat analog to the punch or get close to it.
Right.
And now, even with the delays, the M64 is falling behind several months at this point. They compared the boot time. Both. This is what really got in my head. Both Brandon at Retro Dodo and Topher both tested the boot up time of the unfinished M64 with the analog 3D. From the power on, how quickly could you get into the game? It was more of a quick boot up because there's no menu implemented on top right now when you boot into the M64. immediately, so it goes right to the game. It was about 8 seconds or so.
Okay.
Both of them timed it about the same on the analog 3D. Powered on was about 19 plus seconds to get to the menu. Then you hit the button. About 3.5 seconds later, it loads into the game. It's like right when you see anything loading screen. So like 23 seconds.
Right.
And to me, and they both, at least Brandon said, I updated my analog core. I was like, okay. I did the same thing, just to be sure, on mine. And by the way, they both made it a point to say that this is the one thing that I will say for M64. The Wi-Fi updating the firmware from the system is nice.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Very nice.
I will absolutely say that too.
That is planned for analog. They do have Wi-Fi built in for whatever reason. I think Brandon posited, everyone get the quote, he said they probably didn't do it because there's been other delays of stuff. He tried to make a reason for why analog didn't have it. I don't know why analog didn't put it. It'll probably come in the future. So they made it a point to say you can update from the card. They did not, though. It's a small point. You don't have to take the card out of the analog 3D, Ian. You can just hook it up USB directly, take the console, put it to your computer. That does save you a little bit of time. Like you're not talking like it's still inconvenient, but it saves you like another minute. Like that's how I did it. I just hooked it up. You download it in a minute. You load it into it. Basically makes your console like a USB device.
Yeah.
And you do that. Right. And then you update it, and that took like a few minutes to update it. But so what
I want to bring this up because this gets into the article and how everything just seems over the top to please Mod Retro or to sell. Because yeah, sure, okay. The booting, quick booting, nice. 8 seconds, okay. Analog 16.5 seconds, okay. At the end of the day, who cares? It's a boot up. Yet I just feel like it's falling over itself to praise things. Compare this to the analog 3D, which takes far longer, and that alone is a great reason to snag an M64 over a 3D.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That alone?
That alone.
No. Actually, you kind of buried my point there about the 16.5 was my timing.
Oh, sure.
So when I updated my console, my boot up was 13 seconds to get to the menu screen. And I clicked on the worst possible game to test, Ian, because I wasn't going to cheat. Sub-Zero Mythologies.
Oh, yeah.
So my boot up time was 16.5 seconds, about 7 seconds less than what both of them claimed it to be. I'm not saying they didn't update their consoles correctly. I'm not saying they fibbed about updating it. But either way, it could be a monitor issue. I'm using an 9-year-old Samsung Smart TV, and I got 16.5 seconds. I've seen online some people say quicker than that. The point is this. When you're going out on a limb for a company that probably told you explicitly, hey, we want you to test the boot up time of the Mod Retro versus the analog, and it's not the experience that other people have, that's a problem. Because now you also don't know, by the time the Mod Retro comes out, Ian, it could be a few months, 6 months, who's to say analog won't put out more firmware updates to decrease the time even more? You don't know. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you can't do a comparison of a product that's not finished where it is now versus the competitor. You can't.
I'll also point this out because, again, it's overreaction, I think, is, I guess, the word I want to use. Again, I would love Wi-Fi on the analog consoles. If they're working on Wi-Fi analog updates, great. Yeah. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think people who get into these sorts of things don't really mind it because, of course, there's all sorts of other things you're going to be doing through an SD card on them.
Sure.
Generally. But this line, it's such a basic necessity. That necessity is spelled wrong. And if I had to guess, it's because analog were already annoying customers with constant delays, and that this was the feature that didn't make it in time, but is now biting them in the ass because companies are coming out with it, and it really shines a light on such a simple feature that isn't in analog's more expensive control.
Biting them in the ass? I looked at...
I don't think anything is biting analog in the ass.
The biggest concern when the analog came out, the 3D, was that it didn't run every flash card,
right?
Which they didn't advertise it to, by the way.
No, so, but I understand why it's expected.
But within a week, though, you could.
Yes.
So it's a non-issue. which is funny because and this is like where I get pissed at Analog for. Their PR is terrible. The biggest feature that people loved was never advertised, the overclocking.
Right.
Which I thought was funny. So it's like that, they should be, I don't want to say applauded for that, but the fact that that was included and no one expected it was like, hey, this is awesome. This overclocking thing. No one said that it sucked eggs that they had to do a firmware update with a card. That's sort of like, yeah, it's not convenient, but you're talking 5 minutes of your life. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
I'll be honest, the whole thing feels like sour grapes, and it feels reactionary towards Analog, and I think, well, that's it. And the thing is like, I have just about every time we bring up Analog, I have to say something negative. It drives you nuts, but I always do. I have to say something negative about them because as much as I like their products, they do a lot of stupid shit.
Yes.
They do.
I can say that.
And they do. And I like it's a business, but I feel like I don't know what happened, but it feels like it's clouding judgment.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I don't want to come off like I don't. The reason why I'm kind of like, I'm not annoyed, but I had to spend time in my day to update my firmware to test and make sure that they were telling the truth. Because when I was reading the article, watching the video, I didn't trust their motives. So I'm like, I shouldn't have to do analog defense, but I feel like I have to because they're not being honest with this, with like how they're presenting this M64.
I'm not trying to do analog defense here. I'm just trying to say that it comes across as very reactionary.
Well, here's the thing. This phrase is, I wrote this down at 12:15. The magic, Ian.
Oh God.
The magic is in Mod Retro's extra modern features that add to the nostalgic experience and modernize this beautiful console in a way that makes gaming even more fluid and enjoyable.
My question here is, what extra modern features, all of the features that you could consider extra modern here or different than any other FPGA system they're not implemented. They're not implemented. And that whole thing, and I'm sorry, I don't know that they did, but it's not good that part reads exactly like AI. It does not say, it's not saying anything. Well, extra modern features, more fluid and enjoyable.
So right now,
more fluid and enjoyable
than what?
Than what?
So right now, it doesn't have. You bring up the list, and I can't access it right now. I put the link there. It doesn't have all the filters right now. It doesn't have the saving via control pack right now.
Right. Okay, so save states, overclocking.
Doesn't have overclocking implemented
yet? Right, and like that's a thing where, okay, I could see that as an extra modern feature that improves the fluidity and enjoyment of nostalgic game time with the family.
Run down the list. I can't access it.
Overclocking, save states, built-in controller pack, chromatic video pass-through.
Yes.
Chromatic transfer pack, in-game notifications, console LED color customization, wider third-party Bluetooth controller support, wider HDMI input
Wider HDMI compatibility seems like a big one.
EverDrive 64, X5 and X7 compatibility, Summer Cart 64 compatibility and menu sound effects, video processing effects, filters, cart hot swap and reset option toggles, translucent video settings, brightness setting for cartridge light, physical M64 to CRT adapter. That's a lot of ifs and promises.
That's everything. I mean, like, what does it have right now?
An FPGA core that boots up a game.
You can't save to it unless you have a traditional N64 controller pack. You can't, all the filters on it. What do you have? No transfer pack capability.
So what's blowing people's minds about this is
promise of it.
Promise.
It's the promise of it.
Yeah.
That's what's troubling.
Promises are never broken.
There was no mention of the analog output, where that's going to be, because that was one of the features. Oh, it can do HDMI and analog. I'm like, well, I guess that can work if you want to capture and play on the TV at the same time. Or mentioning other cores.
I guess that some people just do that because they want it on a CRT TV.
The other thing that was strange is there was no talk about what the core actually is.
Sure.
So Analog's core is internally developed. We know that. It's developed for years. They don't work with the MiSTer community. It's totally separate. It's their own thing. From my understanding, I can double check. Did you double check? The core in this M64, it looks to be an offshoot of the MiSTer FPGA core. So that's my understanding, that they hired the main proponent. Did I put down the name of the person that's doing the work on that for them? Core M64. So the core accuracy from what I've seen and heard, it's like, yes, you can play all the games with the MiSTer core. In theory, you can complete all the games with the MiSTer core. That doesn't mean though they're going to be all accurate.
Sure.
Or you're not going to have problems with it. Let's see. Mod Retro M64 is the MiSTer FPGA core. Okay, so according to this video game Esoterica one, it's an offshoot of that core. So I had to be alerted to this. There's an entire GitHub of the issues currently that the community is identifying and trying to, I guess, maybe solve as a public of the MiSTer N64 core. So it's not a guarantee, but to me that means like there might be, I hate to use the word, analog to the issues of the MiSTer N64 core with the core that's going to be in the M64 hardware.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So did I have my link there about the GitHub? Is it down there for that? Because some of these issues were not small issues. Some off the top of my head were like, oh, the game crashes after a certain level. One of the issues was Madden 2001, the polygons blow up. One of the ones was like, hey, when you crouch in GoldenEye, something wonky can happen.
Right.
This off the top of my head. One was a Mario Kart 64 issue in multiplayer. I believe it was a split screen issue. I don't know if it disappeared there. So the point is this. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's right here. GitHub issues. You see that? It's at the top of there. Do you want to talk about?
I don't know that we need to get into the nitty gritty.
I'm going to go through.
We can just say that there's a lot of issues.
Graphical glitches in Body Harvest, Pokemon Stadium 2, improper cropping, hyperspeed in the RAM pack with International Superstar Soccer. Some of these are game breaking. Some of these are just there's just issues that you might run into. Rayman 2 randomly crashes on level end screen. So some of these are game breakers.
Yes.
So it's not to say that this is all going to be on the M64, but some of it may be. Tonic Trouble randomly hangs. Again, great. The regular standard popular games run great, but what about Tonic Trouble? Is that going to be okay? Exploding polygons. I brought that one. This is funny. Exploding polygons. Iggy's Wrecking Balls hangs after level 9-2. Again, you can't really loud this console before it comes out because it hasn't been put through the ringer yet. We don't know exactly like what's going to be like the final product with it. Anyway, so I emailed Brandon last Friday because I was wondering where their analog 3D review was, being that they had covered it on their website multiple times about updating it and like, oh, there's been delays.
Right. What's
going on? And they had a TikTok video come out early December, an unboxing of it. So I was like, figured they had to have reviewed this. And I emailed Brandon and I was like, can you please direct me to that? And Brandon said, there is no video review because, didn't have time to do one the last few months, but there will be a written review out. We're working on it. It's been in the works for weeks. And I don't know why you wouldn't do a video review of that when you've already done a preview video of the competing product. And maybe I'm being too, I don't want to say obnoxious or too nitpicky, but it doesn't look proper to me to the combination of those two things. You can choose not to do a video review of the analog 3D because maybe I believe in the email, he did say that they didn't get a review unit. They just bought their unit. They didn't get a review unit sent early. So Brandon felt that like we didn't want to put one out in December because there's a bunch of other ones out already. It's old news. That's fine. But the combination of that with a preview marketing video for the competing product that's unfinished rubs me the wrong way. Maybe I'm old school, but I don't think that looks right. That's me.
I will say at the very least, optically, it does not look good.
It looks strange.
I am trying to eliminate, and I get where you're going with this, and I'm not arguing you on that. I agree it's strange looking. I'm just trying to eliminate the analog from the equation here because I don't really want this. Because I don't want this to be seen as reactionary and defensive analog.
Sure.
I don't want this to be seen as reactionary towards Palmer Luckey, who I fucking hate. But really, like, just looking at this, I'm just trying to look at the system. I'm just trying to look at the preview. I'm trying to figure out where the praise, the high praise for some of this stuff is coming from for a non-finished system.
Well,
it just comes back to what I said where, no, I don't think they were paid, but this really just comes across as PR.
Well, to his credit in the video, Brandon, he had a quick 2-second clip of him and his Retro Dodo partner interviewing Palmer Luckey in November 2024. They did an hour interview. At that point, it was more talking about the Chromatic handheld Game Boy. I'm not sure the M64 came up. I didn't go through it all.
So they're buddies.
So, see, I won't go that far.
There's a colleague connection.
There's a relationship that's been pre-established leading up to this point.
Got it.
Let's be fair.
Yeah,
with that, they could be friends. I won't go that far.
I mean, yes.
So the point is this. So during that interview, real quick about the interview, I scroll through it. Palmer dominates the conversation. Very, very good talker. Now I'm thinking, yeah, that's how he got into a room with fucking Zuckerberg and everyone else on Facebook and sold them, you know, the fucking Oculus for way too much money that they didn't end up doing really anything with.
Right.
The metaverse didn't work out. He did it. So the point is this. It doesn't matter how much money he has, the billionaire worth hundreds of millions. These people that come on, smile at you to get to promote their products, they are not your friends. And maybe I'm too hardened, maybe I'm too paranoid, maybe I'm too like, what is this person trying to get out of me? I would not walk into a situation. This is why Tommy wanted to always talk to us, not to bring up him. I don't even want the 1% chance that I let my guard down and think, oh, they're a nice guy, Ian. Maybe this Amico is really going to be a thing. Maybe we are being too critical about something that isn't out yet that could take people's money and maybe screw them over. I don't want that to occur. And maybe I'm too hardened to that and other people aren't. Maybe that's to my detriment for other things in my life as well. But this is the part of the consequence of that is the fact that now you have stuck your neck out for a billionaire for an unfinished product that we'll just say, Ian, it comes out. We'll even go the Amico route. So say it comes out. What if it's disappointing? What if something happens that it never gets to where it's promised to be? That you promised in your coverage it will get to.
Right.
They will fix the frame rate issues, Ian. They will implement all these things that are missing.
Yeah.
What if some of that doesn't happen? Will the billionaire care? No. It's your reputation that's going to take more of the hit than anything else. Because this is your livelihood, and this is what you do, is cover this stuff. I'm trying not to get on a soapbox, but this is why me and Ian never wanted to get in with these people, get the products early.
Because that's all they want. That's why they're so desperate to get in, too, is they think once they start talking, they've got it. So you just don't give them the chance to talk.
Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not trying to be too... do I sound too, like, sanctimonious when I say this stuff? Like, I'm really... To me, it's like, it's a cautionary thing. Okay. Anything else to add on the articles or any other comments you saw that were kind of weird?
No, I don't want to get on a soapbox either about some of the same shit I've gotten on before about Palmer Luckey. They do mention it in the article, and they really kind of both sides it. Weapons that both protect and destroy.
I don't fucking to me, I'm trying to divorce that from the product. You want to support it,
right? And I have, but it's just there's. The whole thing fucking stinks. I've got nothing else to say about it. I just find it very, very odd that there's that much enthusiasm over a prototype that doesn't do most of what it says it's going to do.
It doesn't do 90% of it. Yes. So they focus on both of them. I'll get into, was it Topher A in a second. We're gonna watch a video.
Oh God, that's right.
And I'm sure he's a delightful person, Topher, but I have to show you in this video. So they both were probably, in my opinion, told to focus on the boot up time. They both were told to focus on the fucking dial. We didn't even bring up the dial.
I don't. There's lots of things I'm not going to bring up for time's sake, but yes, like I think the thing looks like a fucking child's Pico Interactive console, or not Pico Interactive, the Pico.
But they both multiple times made it a point, specifically for that eject handle on the back, where hey, you hold, with one hand you pop the card out with one, and that's how you do it. And when I saw it, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And they also never mentioned, by the way, they talked about the boot up time. They never mentioned the fact that analog has hot swapping anyway. So it's like, even if it's delayed by 7 more seconds the first time, after that, you're not shutting your analog on and off.
Right. You're
hot swapping. So that doesn't even matter.
There's also, I guess I'll just point out, there's some weird stuff in the article too, like the eject button's handy if you want to change cartridges while holding your controller.
What?
Yeah, and then there was another line in there that was like, it's nice that you can access the menu from the button wheel on the system in case your controller breaks. At that point, why are
Did it really say that?
Yes.
If your controller breaks?
Yeah, why? Then
you
you
have larger problems with that.
Yes, exactly. Like,
okay. I'm going to show you this video from Topher A, also on YouTube.
How long is this video?
It's like a minute, Ian.
All right.
Okay. I just wanted to show Ian this video, and I'm sure he's a lovely individual.
So I've been getting a lot of questions in the comments about the M64, like where's the gameplay? How does it look in comparison to a Nintendo 64? Or in comparison to the Analog 3D? What's that dial on the front? What are the different modes? Can you overclock it? Does it have an analog output? While these are all fun, great, and exciting questions, in my opinion, that's not why this is so great. It's not the comparisons, the release date, or the price. To me, it's that there was a stretch of time in my life where this was everything. And not just the games, the people, the noise, the memories. This little console defined my teenage years. And there's a reason why retro keeps coming back. It's not because old games were better. It's because the way we played them was different. Back then, this was our thing. Our memories, our era, our chaos. Bringing this kind of experience back feels very important. And yeah, we have fun along the way, but that's why this matters, at least to me. Plus, if you want a really good breakdown of everything we know about this thing so far and all the tech, my friends across the pond over at Retro Dodo, they've got one. And the video they just put out is a really good, comprehensive look at that. Now, I love and appreciate the tech that went into this thing, but my real passion is the movement that I see coming from it.
What are your thoughts, Ian?
My thoughts are, it says a whole lot of nothing. My other thought is that everything he talked about, that's not the Mod Retro. He's talking about retro gaming in general.
And the original N64.
Yes. But he's talking about the Mod Retro. I mean, whatever. It just...
This is my thoughts. He's trying to... That's a marketing piece to me.
Yes. It's obfuscating. It's an appeal to emotion.
Buy this console... Don't worry about the actual features you're spending $250 on plus tax and shipping.
$200
plus shipping.
All right. Well,
and that's only the early price, by the way.
I'm just trying to be as accurate as possible.
Don't spend $200, Ian, because it may overclock. It may have cool features. It's the vibes.
Yes, the vibes.
That's my criticism of that.
And it's like and they already held up to things that can do what they were talking about.
The original N64 can do that
with a HDMI adapter,
or you can get their competing product.
Yeah,
that's already out. And
you don't have to wait.
So I'm going to say this: that sort of marketing might fly for the Instagram crowd or TikTok, but the hardcore like retro gamer that values exactly what they're spending their money on and they want that experience, that doesn't work. That does not pass the mustard. They have to see all the features, everything that goes along with it before they make their decision. We're weird like that. You know what I mean? We are. Aren't we?
Yes.
That's all, Ian. So I guess I'll close by saying, if you're going to be doing this for companies, really think about what can go wrong in these scenarios when you're pushing unfinished products while also maybe taking shots at the competitor at the same time. It doesn't always work out.